Welcome to the Anita and Dario show, where we inspire you to live the Mediterranean lifestyle through food and travel. And today we are talking about travel. Yes, one of my favorite. And we're going to talk about Florence this month because Florence in Tuscany is really a gem. We have done our video with Anita and Dario Adventures, and we actually have a really good video on Florence because we also bring people to Tuscany on our culinary retreats. So we have a lot of great experiences, even without our group that we've been there. And of course, you've been there a million times because you were born and raised in Italy. But for many, there's a lot to see in Florence and they don't even realize. But we're going to talk about 3 top things to do before you go to Florence.
It's just one of the cities very close to Tuscany. Okay, let's start with this. I was born in Milan, raised on the Lake Maggiore, which is the other side of Lake Como. So it's the northern part of Italy, in Lombardy, Piedmont.
Yeah. But
my heart is in Tuscany. It's a beautiful region. Florence is one of those cities that you can't not miss. The culture. Just remember one thing. The Italian language was born in Florence.
Yeah, that's right.
The Italian language was born in Florence. I'm just gonna leave it like that.
It wasn't in Milan.
No, it wasn't. We will eventually go back and spend more time aside from our retreat. And I always say, if I would have to go back to Italy, that's what I would spend my time. It's magical. You got a bit of everything. You got the mountains, you got the sea, you got the hills, you got the culture, you got absolutely. And Florence is a city that you can just do everything and anything at any time. It's walkable, it's simple to move around. You get to the train station and off you go.
I always find that whenever I go to Florence, it's not enough time. And we've been there for days, we've stayed there for days, we've done many things, tours, and I find there's so much still to learn. And I never get enough of it. I mean, Tuscany to me, it just speaks to my heart.
Yeah.
And that's why we do the retreats there, because it's just so special in what they do.
That's why me and you are soulmates. Because our soul is in Tuscany, Florence. It's true. I mean, it's magical, La Divina Commedia, all the history of the Medici and all that. There's so much history in that beautiful province, that country, the city. Never mind talking about the food, and it's just, I could just go crazy.
Go crazy. So I guess number 1, what would be the first tip that you'd give them about Florence?
Get involved with the locals, get engaged, go into the markets. Some of the most incredible market, the Mercato Vecchio in Florence is unbelievable. It's funny because as you walk in, there is a market stand. The only thing you can smell is leather, because some of the best.
That's on the outside before you come in, right? Yeah.
Just outside on the street, because the market is beautiful leather product.
If you're going to buy leather, that's the place to buy it.
And then you walk into the market and it's like, everybody wants to feature something. Remember that. Then it's not like, oh, well, it's a problem. No, they want you to be part of it. And we always say, you want to really spend time. They will try to speak your language. They will do anything, but get connected with the culture. Walk around, open your eyes, see things, get in, get adventure. Santa Maria Novella, the train station, as soon as you get off to there, just get lost. We often say, okay, how are we going to get lost today?
And it's pretty safe too, right?
Super safe. I mean, I personally think it's very safe. I mean, like any other city, they're a big city. I mean, if you go in spots, then maybe but 99.99% you're safe. You walk into and you see the beauty, but really engage with those people.
Yeah, yeah. So tip number one is really get involved and to really try to get into the markets, to taste the foods, to meet the people, to try the wines. There's one wine experience we went to, which was phenomenal. And maybe in a link, actually, I think it's in our video that we've done in the Anita Dario.
Do you remember the gelato?
Adventures, yeah. And it's right next to the oldest gelato place as well, which is phenomenal, which is also in our video. Yeah. But Florence, I mean, I just can't get enough of it for some reason. It's just one of those things. And another thing, so this will probably be number two, tip number two. I always find that movies bring things to life for me. And this one is the Medici family. They have a storyline and it's on Netflix. No, is it Netflix?
It was on Netflix. Yep, it was on Netflix. And it's funny because it was one of our travels. We were looking at it and it was on Netflix. And Anita said, "Oh, that's an interesting show." It's
called Magnificent Medici.
The Medici, then is the Magnificent. It's different series, but it's about the Medici family and the story of Florence.
And how the cathedral was made and how it was really, really exciting. And I'm dying to get back again because every time I would see a little bit more of that show or they come out with another part of it. And I think it came out 8 years ago, but I really find it brings things to life there with everything because the buildings are so different and the architecture and the art. It's just spectacular. It really is.
You are engaging in a city as more than just an history. It's the beauty. It's it's whatever you're going is relevant. You feel it. You feel like you're living in these moments. These all little kiosks that you see even in Florence where you actually knock to give you wines on it. Like kind of old times.
Yeah.
Restaurants then, typical traditional restaurants in the center of Florence that people don't even know. And you know that 90% of the guests are Florentinian.
Yeah.
You're having a good meal.
Yeah.
So it's about really start connecting with the people. We always say, get connected with the local, get your history, research it, and you can never get tired. I mean, I like, as an Italian for myself, and even every time we bring our guest to our culinary retreat in Tuscany, we say, and in Florence, we discover something new ourselves every single time, no matter what. Doesn't matter how many times we have been. Remember, I was born and raised there. And still, to this day, I discover. And one of the biggest things, you would have asked me that probably 34 years ago when I was there. And I grew up there. We used to go there as children, as whatever. This old building, not the old building. These old buildings are quite spectacular. The history, the beauty, and people in Florence are proud of their city. You found people with, they walk with their chest puffing up because they're so proud of their culture. They want you to be proud of and they want you to share it with you. Don't ever be intimidated because one of the biggest things about the culture is just wanted to welcome you, embrace you into that. Even
some of the language. I mean, the first time I went to Florence, I went with my daughter and I don't speak much Italian at all. And you're able to work your way through it. And it's kind of nice to meet the people, try to speak a little bit of Italian, try and speak a little bit of English, and it ends up working out. So
tell her the story. Sorry to interrupt, but you got to tell the story about you and the 80 years old nonna in Tuscany. So I'm
gonna tell the story because I don't know what you're talking about.
Just to tell you.
Oh.
Tell you how important communication and love and embracing into that. So we were in Tuscany and we went to see friends of ours. And Anita was so the grandmother. She's 80 something years old, and get right away, she's cooking, she's baking bread, she's got fresh cheeses and cakes and everything coming out. The house smells delicious.
And you have to eat everything.
But she is so enthralled with Anita.
And I was with her.
And you were very enthralled with her.
Mm-hmm.
Then want Anita to really feel part of, feel like an Italian, really want to share the culture. Next thing you know, I don't pay attention because we don't. And the two of them are talking and they're communicating.
I remember I do not speak
like,
Italian.
So a friend of mine said, does Anita speak Italian? I said, well, a little bit. I mean, your mom speaks a lot of kind of the Tuscan dialect. And so he goes to his grandmother and says, do you understand? Oh, yeah, we understand it. And I said, do you understand each other? She says, actually, I do. You know, you might want to explain that. But this is
explain. I don't know how to explain it, but we would point at things, or I would, you know, this is delicious, and I'd say delicious, and I'd say cow, and then she'd say cow in Italian, and I'd go see, and we were working through this whole conversation that was probably maybe 2-word sentences and expressions that we say, but we were in a deep conversation and enjoying the moment. It was really, really nice. I really enjoyed that time, and since then, every time we see each other, we do the same thing. We just feel very close, and she's exceptional. Really, someone I very, very much look up to.
But this is what it means. Like you getting into, and most people are like that. Mm-hmm. They really are. You know, they might be more intimidated about you than you are about them. And once you break that ice,
and that's why we do the travel retreats, is because we want people to experience the Mediterranean lifestyle and understand what that is, and feel it in your bones, what it's like to live in an Italian Italy, Spanish person in Spain, Greek, whatever that might be in France, to experience what it's going to be like to live that Mediterranean lifestyle, so that when you bring it back home, and then we bring it into Florence. So number 3. So we've talked about living and experiencing everything to the fullest, trying all the food, the wine, meeting people. The markets are really, really important. We talked about number 2, which is my tip. And I always find whenever I go somewhere, even like when we went to Savannah, I mean, I remember watching the movie, and it just when you get there, it just brings it more to life. The Medici series is really, really well done. It helps explain a lot of the history, which brings the city to life. And so number 3 is...
What is number 3?
Walkable. You can walk everywhere in Italy, and especially in Florence, and that's where you get into the little streets and the sideways that you can be able to explore Italy in a different way. Take a walking tour. The walking tours are phenomenal, and it brings you to those places. I know in Rome we did a golf cart tour, which is neat because it takes you into the different spots, and walking is the same way, and it's a walkable city, and it's quite spectacular. So that would be tip number 3.
Great. And walking tour, it's what we do also with our retreats.
Yeah.
I mean, we have a lady, then she's an historian. She tells you about architecture. She will even tell you about the stones, actually. But
we dig that out. We find out what the people from our retreats want, and then we make sure that she follows up.
But
with those.
walking allows you to get into those nook and cranny and really get into the history and really feeling it. Like I said, you get to Santa Maria Novella, the train station, and then you really lose yourself. It's a very, very, very walkable city. Just remember that sometimes there is a little bit of break. You know, they take in the little riposo, but not all the time, because again, it's a big city, so things are always going on. But you know, you go into this beautiful store, clothing store, bakery, salumeria. You know, my favorite is just walking to and go to. We done a food tour, and then we stop into the little street corner. You know, in North America we call a hot dog stand. Well, no, that is tripe stand.
Thank you.
It's called Lampredotto, and I'll tell you, you die and go into heaven.
No.
I think. But anyway,
we will talk about what that one is in the next one, because it's not everyone's.
But you walk into things and you discover all those things. Walking tour, food walking tour, stores, architectural, churches. It's so important to really to feel that. And by walking, I think you experience the best.
Yeah. So those are the 3 tips for Florence. Come on over and see our Anita and Dario adventures, where we've got lots of videos for all our travel adventures that we've done, because we were traveling for almost 2 years straight. So there's lots of places we've been around the world. So it's kind of exciting to go over there. And if you want to follow us, the best place is probably our email list, because all of our stuff gets shared in a newsletter. This will be shared over in all the other Anita and Dario shows will be in YouTube and over on our Facebook group. And love having you join us today. So if there's anything that you want us to talk about or any questions you have, put in the comments below. We'd love hearing from you. So I want to say ciao for now.
Arrivederci.
Take care, everyone. Have a wonderful